Hey, how's everybody doing? Sean Douglas here. Here to talk some wrestling. Here to talk AEW. And the big rumor that's going around the internet, social media, everybody knows about it now, and that is CM Punk's return to professional wrestling. And no, it's not with WWE, which I thought was going to happen one day, just because everybody comes back to WWE, and whenever they burn bridges, they always mend their ways and they always come back. But no, this time it's with Tony Khan and AEW, All Elite Wrestling. CM Punk has supposedly signed his contract, and the rumor is Punk's going to debut this Friday. AEW hosts Rampage, the first dance, at the United Center, the home of the Chicago Bulls, in front of a sold-out crowd, the largest AEW crowd to date since their premiere in 2018. There's a lot I could say about it. Darby Allin's been talking. Darby Allin basically cut a promo a couple weeks ago and said, if you think you're the best in the world, CM Punk, the best in the world. People think it could be Daniel Bryan, but Punk's been going by the best in the world since about 2012 now. And, you strike when the iron's hot. AEW has a lot of momentum, especially after tonight's episode of Dynamite. Kenny Omega's been teasing it here and there. Kenny Omega wore a Cookie Monster shirt a couple weeks ago, and we all know about Punk and Cookie Monster. And tonight Omega wore a Chick Magnet shirt. Punk always said the CM stood for Chick Magnet, so all these little Easter eggs are coming. And Living Color, who sings CM Punk's music, Cult of Personality, follow Tony Khan and AEW. So I think you strike when the iron's hot. I think AEW's got a lot of momentum going into this fall. Their all-out pay-per-view is in Chicago. They got about 3 matches announced. They got Paul White against QT Marshall, Christian versus Omega, and the tag titles are being defended in a steel cage. You could do CM Punk versus Darby Allin. That would be a good match. Pay-per-view buys, if you promote it a couple weeks before All Out, people will buy the pay-per-view. That could get ratings. People want to see Punk's first match back in 7 years after he left the WWE in January of 2014. I always believed Punk was coming back to professional wrestling. It was just when, because it took the Ultimate Warrior 18 years and he finally came back. But I think now is the right time for CM Punk. AEW is an upcoming company. They're trying to go competition with the WWE, and they're an alternative. If nobody wants to watch WWE, they get AEW, because AEW has their loyal fans, like diehard, that don't watch WWE, but there'll always be those loyal CM Punk fans. And for the last couple weeks, they all been chanting CM Punk whenever the Rampage promo would air, and they always end it with Darby Allin cutting the best in the world promo and stuff. So I think you strike when the iron's hot. You bring CM Punk to Rampage, because if you don't, the crowd's going to hijack. If Darby Allin doesn't open the show, and if CM Punk doesn't interrupt, then you can potentially have throughout the whole show the fans chant CM Punk, because that's what they're expecting. It's in Chicago. People read dirt sheets. That's the rumors. And if Punk doesn't come, then I think it's going to stall the momentum that AEW has currently, unless he appears as a surprise at All Out. But I think you bring him to Rampage this Friday night, and then you build towards All Out. That's the rumor. CM Punk is signed with All Elite Wrestling, scheduled to wrestle 10 to 12 matches a year, but appear on Dynamite weekly. Another rumor is Daniel Bryan has officially signed with AEW. He's been WWE faithful for the last 10 years almost. Main evented WrestleManias, won world titles, had great matches. The Yes Movement, one of his most memorable moments was defeating Evolution all in one night at WrestleMania 30. He defeated Triple H, and he went on to main event against Batista and Orton, and he won the world title. But I don't think you debut them guys both at the same time. I think you save Bryan for the New York City Stadium show, and you can bring him out and you have him challenge Omega for the world title. Some people say you want to rocket CM Punk straight to the moon to the world title. You could do that, but then you'd have some people saying, oh, well, he's been out of the business for 7 years. He shouldn't get the world title. But if the crowd's behind him, like I'm sure they're going to be week in and week out, you can do that match. And Punk has a lot of fresh matchups in AEW. Him and Kenny Omega, him and Jon Moxley. Imagine him and Cody Rhodes on the mic. Punk and Malachi Black. Hangman Adam Page. Lance Archer. There's just a lot. And the same with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan and Kenny Omega, Daniel Bryan and the Young Bucks, Daniel Bryan and Matt Hardy, Daniel Bryan versus Jon Moxley. There's a lot of fresh matchups that AEW can do going into this fall and going into Full Gear in November. And so, yeah, it's pretty exciting to be a professional wrestling fan around this time, especially with the rumors that Bryan Danielson and CM Punk are coming to AEW. So you strike when the iron's hot, you debut Punk this Friday at Rampage, and you go with the momentum, and you continue on, and you have him at All Out, of course, wrestling Darby Allin, and then you bring Bryan Danielson in at the stadium show, and you just keep your momentum going, because you don't want your momentum to stall. But, yeah, that's just what I got to say about it. Those are the rumor mills, and I just like to talk about them and say my thoughts about them. But Daniel Bryan and CM Punk would be like getting Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. That would be their effect, I think, because Kevin Nash and Scott Hall left WWF and came to WCW. And I think that's kind of like the same effect that Punk and Bryan would have, because Punk and Bryan are huge stars, big draws. They would generate a lot of fans, a lot of ratings. So I think it's smart for Tony Khan to get them guys, make sure they're signed under his banner, and continue the success that AEW is having. So we'll definitely see what happens. So we'll see this Friday night at Rampage. The first dance in front of a sold-out crowd in Chicago. CM Punk potentially debuts for All Elite Wrestling. Cult of Personality. That crowd is going to explode. The United Center is going to go wild if this goes off.